Hi, Assalamualaikum everyone. I'm Marnie and you are listening to Beyond Rescue where we share stories from our real frontliners. So this podcast is part of our World Day Against Trafficking in Person where we will shine light to real person, real story and those who've been working really hard on the ground to support the survivors. And for today's episode, we want to focus specifically on what happens after someone rescued. And for that, in shelter and rehabilitation, the first steps to healing, we are speaking with Maslina from Tenaganita, an organization that's been supporting all traffic survivors for many years. And so we will hear from Maslina what it's like to welcome someone into a shelter in that state. What was the experience? What was the challenge? I welcome Maslina from Tenaganita.
Hi, thank you for inviting me to the studio.
Yeah. So, Maslina, I'm really honored to have this conversation with you and we want to know more about you. So maybe you can share with us what's your background and how you've been starting working with Tenaganita.
Okay, let me introduce myself. My name is Maslina Hassan. I'm a program manager for anti-trafficking in person program in Tenaganita. I joined Tenaganita first in 2002 as a research assistant.
Mm-hmm.
After I was appointed as a program officer,
Mm-hmm.
that's where I started handling cases of human trafficking,
All right.
particularly cases of domestic workers
Mm-hmm.
and sex trafficking cases.
All right, interesting. So starting from the research and then move to the shelter context, right? What drew you to accept that position to start working with the shelter and to deal with directly with the traffic survivors?
Okay, as a program officer, my main role is managing cases.
Mm-hmm.
Both at that time I received a lot of cases of domestic workers
Mm-hmm.
and sex trafficking cases from different countries. So even though my main role focusing on the case management, but from time to time, at that time we don't have a shelter.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of our struggle. So I used to send our victims to WO shelter actually. So sending them and fetching them, and it's quite tiring actually because we have many survivors, and then due to increasing number of the survivors of the cases, we realized that we need to have our own shelter. That's how we started making efforts to raise funds to establish our shelter. And finally, in 2006, we managed to establish our first shelter for women, trafficked women and children. Yeah.
Wow. So 2006 and now 2025, it's been like 19 years, right?
Yeah, and since then we have housed hundreds of victims of human trafficking.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. Amazing. So all these human traffic survivors, how they being referred to Tenaganita shelter or how do you receive them?
Okay, we have two hotlines.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and for emergency cases,
Mm-hmm.
and actually this line we initiated back in 2006, 2005.
Mm-hmm.
For we call it domestic worker action line actually. So that's where we initiate the hotline with the support together with the PDRM.
Okay.
So from there we started to receive more cases.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's also that's where we also receive more cases.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided that we have to have our own shelter because of these cases.
And now I'm very curious, when the traffic survivors being referred to your shelter, how and what are the first thing that you and your team will prepare in receiving them?
Yeah, for us, first, we want them to feel safe and welcome into our shelter. We want them feel they are at home, even though their home are far away. So we know that from our experience, we know that each victims, they come with fear, they come with trauma, with anxiety. They're with confusion, so and uncertainty about what's going to happen next, and how long they will be in our shelter. So that is the biggest question mark. So we have to make them feel safe and welcome in the shelter. That's where we give priority to create enabling environment or conducive environment to help them to recover, to help them in their recovery process. Yeah. Yeah, and secondly, we need to do assessment, the needs assessment, immediate needs. So this include medical, the treatment, including dental, and then in terms of clothes, food, because sometimes we have resident from outside of ASEAN, so their food is different, so we have to look into that as well. The psychological support, and then the access to interpreters if there is a need. Yeah. And thirdly, I will emphasize on communication. This is extremely important that we maintain respectful communication with the survivors. So to ensure smooth and communication, and also to avoid misunderstanding. With the survivors, and also we continuously have to monitor them, their behavior, especially during the first few weeks when they come to the shelter, to see how they are adjusting their life within the new environment, in shelter environment, together, living together with the other residents from other countries.
Yes. Yeah. So from what you were sharing, there's like a whole lot of process about how you want to welcome them, how to make them feel safe. And I think that's a lot of patience needed in that process, right? For yourself and your staff, and also for the traffic survivors also to adapt to the shelter environment, right? And you mentioned also that all traffic survivors coming from different countries, which also means they're coming from different backgrounds and different language. How would you guys cope with that? Like, to process with that?
Our main challenges basically language. If they come from countries that none of the staff speak. For example, Myanmar, for example. So from African region, for example. But some of them do speak English. So we somehow find ways to communicate with them. So these are the main challenges. But also when they are living together in a shared space, we constantly remind them this is a shared space, and we must be always support each other, and be respectful to each other. And we have also need to be culturally sensitive, so in order to create enabling environment in the shelter.
Understand. So to keep the safety in the shelter, I believe that the shelter has some structure or some rules and regulation and all that, right? The survivors also need to feel like they have the voice in whatever we are doing for them in the shelter. So how does the Tenaganita shelter balance those things to give them the control, but at the same time they have to follow certain procedures to ensure the safety in the shelter?
So when they first come to our shelter, of course, as I said earlier, we want them to feel safe and welcome in the shelter, right? So we definitely do not assign them or tell them the rules, this and this, no. So we let them to rest first in a few days, and then we observe how we need to assess the condition, the physical condition, and the mental health condition as well. So, and then we slowly introduce them with the shelter rules and regulation. And then also, and later on, that include the duties that they have to do in the shelter. They need to do in the shelter. So, but we are not forcing them to do if they are not ready to do it. And they can always talk to us. They have like some health problem, they're not able to do it. So we are totally fine with that, and we manage. We're not going to force them to to commit to anything. The same thing with the activities. We encourage everyone to participate in various activities that we provided, but again, we're not going to force them to participate in the activities. But we also ask them what are the activity you want to have. We want to learn.
So who provides those activity? Will you guys engage with volunteers or it's come from your own capacity to do so?
Like Zumba, they are managed to do on their own already.
nice.
They just open the
Video.
TV, and then they just follow the step. But they are pretty good at that. And then for yoga, it was done by our supervisors.
Oh.
So, and baking done by our supervisors. So, but sometimes we do involve external volunteers from partner organization. For example, AJM, and then and possibly GSB as well. In providing conducting activities for them. It will be good if they know some trainers, for example, outside of our circle as well. So we look forward to have more partners to engage with them to provide activities or capacity building for them.
So it's very interesting to see that from morning until at night, there's something to occupy them. And you mentioned earlier that they were not forced to follow any activities,
Right.
whatever they feels like to do. And that is very interesting. And that is very heartwarming to listen that survivors also take part in preparing something, not only rely on the shelter, right?
Right.
So in that sense, right, what do you think contribute to that action to take charge in their own daily activity?
Yeah. We there are two approaches that we apply in dealing with trafficking survivors in our shelter, which is trauma informed approach and victim centered approach. So through these approaches that we design our care and protection for the survivors. That's where we encourage like clear communication with them, respectful communication between supervisors and resident, and to be open. If you have problem, you can share with us, and then we protect your confidentiality. We will not share whatever you tell us without your consent. For example, we have to find ways to get their trust. So that it will be. Our intervention will be effective.
Yeah, so there's a lot of trust, communication with the survivors, right? From whatever you are sharing, the same practices that you guys practice with the survivors, the trauma informed, all that, you also practice with the team that you have to give them the best support, right? And maybe, we are coming to end of our session today. I'm very curious to know more. Maybe you want to say something to our audience, because of all the experience you have. Maybe one or two words that you want to share with our audience out there who wondering about what is trafficking or anything you want to share with them.
Okay. My message to the public out there, maybe our level, our understanding towards trafficking is different. So I encourage everyone to know more about trafficking, because not only migrants or refugees are affected by trafficking, but now we see increasing number of our own children and our youth also were trafficked in other countries. So my message is that we have to take initiative to know more about human trafficking, and that because this is transnational organized crime. It can happen to anyone. It can happen to me and my family members. It can happen to you and also to you out there.
So, Maslina, thank you so much. I learned a lot, and that was very heartwarming and eye-opening session for everyone who's listening. And that really shows how much thought and heart goes into the creating a safe space for the traffic survivors. So to everyone who's listening, thank you for being here with us. If this episode resonates with you, please share it and help us keep spreading these conversations going, because awareness leads to change. So Maslina, if there is any social media that we can follow, the audience can follow you.
Yeah, you can follow our, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have, of course, our website, and Twitter and TikTok account.
Nice. So they covered all social media. So guys, please follow them, give them supports, and leave some good comments and empowering them to do more for the traffic survivors. So yeah, so I'm Marnie and this is Beyond Rescue. See you guys again.
See you.